Welcome back. A Democrat will run the city of Miami for the first time in almost 3 decades. Eileen Higgins won the runoff yesterday. In her victory speech last night, Higgins said voters chose a, quote, new direction.
Tonight, history was made. You chose competence over chaos, results over excuses, and a city government that finally works for you.
Eileen Higgins served as a member of the Miami-Dade County Commission from 2018 to 2025. She defeated Republican opponent Emilio Gonzalez, who had previously worked as Miami's city manager and chief administrative officer. In addition to being the city's first Democratic mayor in 28 years, she will also be the first woman to ever hold the job. All right, the world's first social media ban for children under the age of 16 is now in effect in Australia. Major apps impacted include TikTok, Instagram and Snapchat, but there are many others. CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio is here with more on this. Remy, good morning. Young Australians now wrapping up their first day without access to a number of major apps. Any sign of withdrawals just yet?
A lot of sign of withdrawals, Errol. No surprise. Many Aussie teens are complaining, saying that they're going to find a hack around. I mean, didn't we all try to find a hack around, right? Some say it is their only social lifeline in the countryside, the big outback. Others actually say they do understand it. And the catalyst for this whole ban, the head of the state of South Australia, his name is Peter Malinauskas, told me that he is proud. Here's some of my conversation with him just a short time ago.
Over the last 10 years, we've in effect been having a global experiment. It's had consequences in terms of how people engage with another. It's had consequences in terms of the dramatic and extraordinary spike in the rates of childhood depression and anxiety that we definitively now know through peer-reviewed research is linked to social media addiction and overuse because many of these platforms have had addictive algorithms.
Is there a story that comes to mind when you think, yeah, I remember that story, and that really inspires me?
I think of a gentleman I met by the name of Wayne Holdsworth, whose son took his life, took his own life, in no small part because the treatment that he was receiving online and social media had a role to play in that. And these stories break your heart, but it feels like it's just gone a bridge too far.
There is criticism that this is government overreach. What do you say to that?
What's really been the source of overreach here is major tech companies investing in huge sums of money to industrialize and then monetize addiction of young people. Now, people will find ways around it and lots of things will go wrong and that'll be highlighted in coming days and weeks in Australia. But on balance, this is a reform that parents want so they can do their job more easily.
The penalty for social media companies is 50 million Australian dollars. That's about 33 million US dollars. Meta had a profit of more than $60 billion. So I'm just going to say 33 million from that perspective is a drop in the bucket. They might say, hey, you know, whatever.
Well, if they break the law with impunity, they can expect our parliaments to respond. If social media companies or anybody else thinks to deliberately ignore it, or not comply, then the consequences will ratchet up inevitably. What we see, though, thus far, frankly, is a willingness for social media companies to comply. All we're doing is saying to kids, you can't have social media. So heaven forbid they might talk to one another a bit more, pick up the phone and have a chat rather than just being obsessed with the screen. Much of the credit of all of this happening goes to my wife. She read a book called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. And I'll never forget the night she finished reading the book and she put it down on her lap and she turned to me and said, you better do something about this. And I would invite any parent to read that book just to understand the necessity for this change. And they'll soon see why we've done this in Australia.
And Malinauskas told me that he's already met with officials from North America to Europe and Asia who are interested in what happens. In Australia, though, there's already a legal challenge. 2 15-year-olds are taking this ban to the highest court in the country. They say that this violates their right to freedom of communication, basically the freedom of expression. So we are all clearly watching to see how this plays out, teens, parents, and governments all around the world, because it affects so many.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to watch this happen in real time. Remy, thanks so much. Great conversation there.